One of the most important pieces of being able to heal is feeling heard, feeling seen, and feeling acknowledged in the struggles that you're going through. And it's one of the hardest skills to learn. It's not just something that happens, it's an active skill. And today's guest is going to help us understand why listening is so important, as well as how we can become better listeners. So, if you've got friends who you need to listen a little better, perfect episode to send their way. Welcome to the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast dedicated to helping women navigate the emotional journey that is divorce. I'm your host, Erica, and if you're trying to figure out life after the big D, welcome to the club. Whether you're contemplating divorce or dealing with the aftermath or any of the many phases in between, the club has got you covered. Each week, you'll hear stories from women who have been in your shoes. This isn't about spilling tea on divorce details. This is about giving you the tools to take control of your own healing journey. Listen in weekly for advice, tips, and tools to help you move through each stage of the process. Welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club. I'm your host, Erica, and today we have Erin Snow with us. So Erin is the founder of Seacoast Listening Lounge, a unique space she created to give women the freedom to release, reflect, and feel truly heard. So welcome to the show, Erin. I'm excited to talk about listening.
Hey, Erica, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
Right? It's so funny because oh my God, we're so excited to talk about listening. And I talk a lot and I probably don't listen as well as I should. But you guys, Erin's also a fellow divorcee and she understands how challenging it is to find somebody who listens. We all think that we're listening. We're like, oh yeah, but how many times are you listening with the intent to reply? You're listening with the intent to add something to the conversation, to share your own experience, to maybe even disagree with whatever the other person said. But we rarely listen to listen. And that is Erin's specialty. So, how did you get into a listening lounge? Where did this idea come from?
Okay, so I was actually in the legal field for almost 17 years. I was doing divorce work. I was working with victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking in their high lethality divorce, parenting, and protective order cases.
Well, that was a mouthful.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow. And you got that out in one breath. So
I
that was
did.
also impressive.
It's all about breathing.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and one of the things that the clients I was working with would tell me over and over again, Erin, nobody is listening to me. I am telling my story. And it feels like I'm on a crowded street and everybody's walking by me and I'm screaming and no one notices. I'm telling my story, but no one's listening to me. And that really resonated with me. I was going through a divorce like pre-COVID, right at the beginning of COVID. And I didn't tell anyone my story. I didn't tell anyone what was going on with me. I didn't tell my friends that I was getting a divorce or even thinking about getting a divorce because I didn't want to deal with that judgment. And at the same time that that was going on, I couldn't really tap into my family because my dad was dying from early onset Alzheimer's. I didn't want to add more to their plate, more stress, more just like, well, this is a lot. So I was like, where do I go? What do I do? I didn't want therapy. I just wanted a space where I could talk and vent and just let it out and be on my way. So last summer, I had actually rewatched Sex in the City and I got really pissed off. It was like, who has this group of girlfriends that they can go sit at a table with? Who has the time? Who can just go do this? And they listen and there's no judgment and it's all perfect. I'm like, I don't have this. So, I'm remarried and I turned to my husband and I said, I think I'm going to just start this business where I listen to women and they just have a safe space where they can vent and talk and either individually or in groups. And I'm going to just do that because I need something like this and I don't have it. And there's nothing that I couldn't find anything. So he's like, I don't know if that's a thing. And I'm like, well, I'm going to make it a thing. And so I did.
I love it. But isn't it so true that often the thing that we crave the most is the business solution we need to start because
Mm-hmm.
it's a need. Like if you have a need, you know that other people have that same need. And similar to your story, when my then husband, like when the first unraveling, when we started the
Mm-hmm.
separation, I really had very few people I could tell because there was infidelity. And you
Mhm.
know that the moment you tell that there's infidelity, they're instantly best of hearts, but they're instantly going to be like, screw him, kick him out. What are you doing? And they're going to rally for that because that's what we've been taught. Culturally, we've been taught like once a cheater, always a cheater, nothing ever
Yep.
changes.
Yep.
And so I couldn't tell
Mhm.
people the full details. So most of it I had to hold inside. Very few people knew to what
Mhm.
extent because I had really hoped that it was going to work. And I sat in that space of, well, if it was going to work, I can't tell people the full stuff
Right.
because they'll continue to hold that against him, even if I
Right.
forgive him.
Right.
And so it left this need for the safe space. Who can
Mhm.
really do that for me?
Yep. That was exactly my experience too. And added layer too was that my friend group at the time, late 30s, early 40s, was, my kids were friends with their kids. So it like that's your friend group when you have like school age kids usually. And I was like, well, I can't tell them because what if we don't get divorced? What if we don't separate? Then they're always going to see him that way. And is it going to affect the relationships that my kids had? So that was just like another piece. I was like, I can't say anything. So surprise, the U-Haul showed up and that's how they knew.
Yeah, they didn't know because he moved out, like, just in his car. Like, he didn't even tell me, you guys. I came home from a concert and all his stuff was gone, and I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Oh, I rented an apartment. I already moved in. I moved in tonight while you were gone." Like, "What?" So, obviously, there was some lack in communication. But, okay, so what is a professional listener? Like, why are they hiring a professional listener? Let's actually start with that.
So that's a really good question. Different from therapy. I'm not a therapist. I'm trained in trauma informed advocacy from my prior legal work. I'm trained in empathetic listening. So, a professional listener is somebody who is going to give you the safe space to process whatever it is that's going on with you. And you can do that quietly. I have clients who say, Erin, I just want you to actually listen to me. And that's the question that people like have trouble wrapping their heads around. They're like, wait, so you just listen? Yeah, sometimes if that's what people want me to do, it's responding with that mhm and making the eye connection and just knowing that they're in a space where they're not being judged and that I am witnessing, I can bear witness to their experience. And then I have other clients who are like, Erin, this is like my verbal smash sessions. Erin, I want you to get there in there with me. Like, I want you to be mad with me. And, it's raw and it's like highly emotional and it's not that quiet reflection piece. So I do both. And just that they know that they have a space where they can come and process in whatever way that feels good and they're not going to be judged and there isn't a diagnosis and there isn't a treatment plan and they're not looking for a fix. They're just looking quite literally for a place to be heard.
Yeah. I love that, especially the first one, right? When somebody shows up, and how much courage does it take to show up and say, I just need somebody to listen?
Mhm,
And for you to
mhm,
then be able to hold that space, like applying
mhm.
empathy, making eye contact. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys think about the last time somebody told you that was something really intense. Were you able to actually hold eye contact?
Mhm,
Like, that's a lot. It's a lot of, to me, I always imagine it's like the mother energy that we all crave, that
mm,
whole, like, "Come
mhm,
here, there's no judgment, I will
mhm,
listen." And so being able to find that without, "Oh, therapy, we've gotta fix something," or, "How do you wanna process this?" We've got the club for you too if you want the space of meeting other peers in it, but having that one-on-one time to just get it out and see
mhm.
how amazing it feels to stop holding everything in.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
love that.
Mhm, mhm,
So I am curious, do you typically see people coming in for like a one-off session or do they
mhm,
come in quite a bit? Cuz so for me, I have done a ton of different therapists, right? Gone to a ton of different therapy types, found the pieces that kind of work for me. We all laugh. I literally just have to talk out loud in a room. I've had a therapist was like, "Erica, You solve your own problems before anybody gets there. So if you just stood in a room and talked out loud, you probably would come to the same conclusion that you just paid me to sit here and listen
Mhm.
to you on. And so I always am wrapping my head around like, what would this experience be like? What would I bring to the table if I had a meeting with you and wanted to sit with you? So is it usually a one off or is it usually more of like a series?
It really varies. I have some people who ask for one session and they come in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's what I needed." Okay. And then I may not see them again for a couple more months when something else comes up in their life and they're like, "I remembered the relief I felt when I was able to let this out." And then I have other people who maybe they come once a month, or I have walk in Wednesdays, which are drop in times where people can just stop by my office, no appointment necessary, 20-minute vent sessions, and they'll come to those. And it's, yeah, so it really depends on the client and the individual and what they need. But somebody did ask me if I would start a membership program, which I haven't launched it yet, but yeah, I'm excited for that.
I do like that. I think it's also really cool how we have all of these new types of service-based businesses opening up, right? That what people really miss is that human connection and the ability to just go when they need to go, like memberships, like paying for that access that you're getting to be able to show up. So I really love that as well. If you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted from overthinking, and stuck in uncertainty, this message is for you. You don't have to keep feeling that way. Inside the club, you'll find a safe space to rediscover who you are, clarify what you want, and determine how you want to move forward. Surrounded by women who truly understand and guided by expert support, you are not alone on this journey. Join us at thecrazyexwivesclub.com/the club. It's time to reclaim your life. You know, one of the things that you had wrote in when you answered your questions before we started the show was how your divorce has transformed you, because I wanna come back to not only do you offer this beautiful service, but you also understand what it means to feel so very alone and to share the hope of the transformation on the other side. So, what would you say were some of your like biggest divorce struggles? And then how did you get through them?
Probably, just not understanding or having an idea of what the process was going to look like. Like, this was my career, right? I've been doing this as a career, and I'm like, "Okay, I kind of understand what the pitfalls are. I know the things to look for." But when you're in it and you're the one going through the process of divorce, it's not like what you thought it was going to be. So I just would encourage people to go, like, go into it with an open mind. Like, if you have these expectations, you have this idea of how it's going to go, you're inevitably going to get disappointed because it's not ever going to go that way, because there's so many other factors. There's potentially kiddos, there's new partners, there's financial stuff. Like, there's so many emotions tied into divorce. And it only takes kind of one of those things being upset, or you're like, what are the motives behind why you're doing this? Is it because of the new girlfriend? Is it because you think that, you shouldn't have to pay that much in child support? Whatever it is, like, that is going to be triggering and going, well, why are you doing these things? And, you can go into it and start with the best intentions, and it just may not end up that way. Or you might surprise yourself and go, okay, that wasn't we were able to get through this amicably. But it's a crapshoot. Like, you don't know. And I think that I expected it to go a certain way just because I had the training, and I was like, oh, this has so many ups and downs that I didn't anticipate.
Yeah, it's not a one size fits all. There's not a one path, which is also why there's not a one solution. And I think that that's where because divorce, it's the business and the emotions, and so when those 2 get mingled together because the emotion is triggering how you decide to make a business decision, and
Mhm.
so being able to separate those out and have the right support systems, because a lot of times that's when, we do one of 2 things. We lean on our lawyer to act like a therapist, which they're
Mhm.
not, and every
Mhm.
time I did that, my therapist, like, kinda sorta wouldn't call me back right away. like, "Oh, that was her," right? Like, I'll just wait a couple days until the energy subsides, and then I'll give her a call.
Yeah.
Or that's when you launch into therapy, and
Yep.
you're in a therapy program, and that's where, again, having the right tool. So if therapy is not your jam, it might just be
Mhm.
that you need somebody to listen to you
Right.
vent about what's happening or what's going on. Because there were so many times too, I feel like, that my venting tired my friends out.
Yeah.
Because it's a
Right.
lot.
Right, it's a lot, and it's, like, the same topic of conversation, so, like, every time you get together for drinks, anytime you go to dinner, anytime you're
Yeah.
hanging out, it's like it consumes you, and it makes sense why it consumes you. It's your life, it's this big change that's going on, and it's scary and unknown, and, of course, you wanna talk about it, but your friends are like, "I just want to get together for a drink, like, really? Do we have to keep talking about this?" And I kind of relieve the pressure for your friends. Like, so you can vent here, you can have somebody listen here so that you can show up in a way that feels good for you and for your friends when you're out with them. So you can have that quality time. Of course, some of it's going to be taken up by that because they want to know what's going on with you if they are true friends and they care about you, but there needs to be like some space and breaks and buffers every now and then. And this is a good way to do that.
Well, and I feel like too, there's a difference of if you first let the steam out, then when you show up with your friends, because you've already let the big emotion out, then you can have a much different conversation with them. Okay. So you're in a divorce situation and things are happening, or you're separated, and what's happening all day long, your little emotions are ratcheting up, ratcheting up, ratcheting up. They're screaming to be heard. They're like, "It hurts so bad, Erica. Why are you ignoring me right now?" Well, I got to get through work. I got to get through my day. I got to get through dinner, whatever it is. Right. And so we're pushing them off, and they just get louder and scream louder because they want to be heard. And so then you go out with your friends, and what happens? You spiral into the same vent and bitch session that you always do, or you're stuck on the same, I'd get on these bad anxiety spirals. Oh my God, I'll like, what's wrong with me? I'll always be alone, this or that. And eventually friends are like, oh my God, we're doing it again. And so if instead you have a way it's like think of a big red balloon, your emotions are getting bigger and bigger, and that balloon is threatening to pop. And having somebody effectively listen is like a tiny little pinhole, like applying empathy. We put a tiny pinhole in that, and it goes and just lets out a little bit so that when you get to your friends, you can be like, "Yeah, he's still dumb. He's still dumb and he's still annoying, but let's talk about something else." Because I think we all know that when you continue to spiral and fester in the bullshit, then you continue to focus on it. You see more reasons why he's still dumb. You see more reasons why you're still annoyed. You see more reasons why it's still unfair. And you can't quite move forward because we've pulled everybody else into that same frequency of expecting it to be terrible. And so we start to pull those pieces apart, right? You start to create different spaces, whether you're looking at the listening lounge because you just need somebody to hear you and for you to be able to process through and move through it. And then you have spaces like the club where it's like, okay, there's a whole bunch of women who get what you're going through. And we're over here being like, keep going. Right. And so there's
Yes.
all these tools to help you get through it. Yeah, we have live calls, but I will tell you, like, I will listen to you, but I am like, move to action. Move to action. That is like
Yeah.
everything ingrained in
Right.
me is
Right.
acknowledge it, feel it, but move to action because
Yeah. Mhm.
I have a personal belief, like, nobody has to stay stuck in the shit longer than you
Mhm.
want to. You stay
Mhm.
as long as you want, but once you're
Right.
done, you have the power to change it, and you have the power to change it instantly, and so a little different than a listening lounge, but a
Yes.
safe
Yep.
people where you're not putting
Exactly.
all of that weight on your friends that and
Yes.
family that or
Mhm.
people that just don't get it. Because guess
Right.
what? People don't get it until you've gone through it.
No, 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 people do not get it. Like I said, I was did it for almost 17 years, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm in it," and I was like, "Crap."
Yeah.
Like,
We
"Oh god."
Yeah.
You know?
We think we know. We think we know until we get in it, and then we're like, "I am so sorry. I had 0 idea
Mhm.
what you were actually going through." I love that, and you have an offer for listeners, so if you are curious, you guys, this is one of those times when because I know that it feels very overwhelming to figure out like what's the next right tool. And you're probably getting a whole bunch of lawyer bills and you're probably freaking out about all sorts of stuff. And so you are trying to figure out as many things as you can figure out on your own, same way I did it. And hell yes, more power to you because you can. And we hire a coach or we hire support when we're ready to get there faster. When you know your way, when you know what you're leaning into, then somebody can help you get there faster. Somebody can move you through it. And where we get stuck is our nervous system, which is so
Mhm.
stuck in fight or flight, and
Mhm.
its one goal is to protect you and to keep you safe, wants to kind of avoid any risk. I don't know. Do you really want to pay for that? What if it doesn't help? I don't know. Is that really going to be the thing, right? All those worries and doubts and whatever show up in your head. So, if you are sitting here and you're like, this is super interesting and I am curious, you
Mhm.
feel that curiosity in there. Erin does have an offer for you so that you can take action on that curiosity.
Yes. So, first, I have 10-minute free consultation calls that anyone can sign up for. And that's all on my website, seacoastlisteninglounge.com. But for anyone who listens to this podcast and is interested in checking it out, just mention the podcast. If you book one listening session or verbal smash session, you will get one free. So, buy one, get one.
I love that, but you know what? Because you've said it twice and you told me about it, but we need to really dig into the verbal smash session because
Yeah.
I thought those were so fun because you did events too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I actually team up with a physical smash room,
Yeah,
in
you
Portland.
guys, how cool is this? So Erin's gonna tell you about this, but you need to listen in because I wanted this so bad back in the day.
So we've all heard of smash rooms, they're kind of popping up all over where you can go in and like throw plates or use a hammer and smash different items, TVs, things like that. So where I'm located in New Hampshire, Seacoast, New Hampshire, there is a smash room called Vent Activities Rooms in Portsmouth. And I teamed up with them really when I opened this business and said, hey, look, I see what you're doing. I get the physical smash piece. I know why people are probably accessing that activity. But I would like to add this emotional piece, processing piece in advance. So 30 minutes prior to your smash session, you can book an appointment with me and I will help you process the emotional side of things, what you're going through, help you write things on your items. And then you can take those items, you've kind of gone through the why you're there, and then you get to go in and you just like get to smash the shit out of things and throw it, and like that release, that actual physical release. So you've done the emotional release with me and then you get to go in and you do the physical release. They also have paint splatter. So one woman brought in her wedding dress and was like, I want to
Splatter it.
splatter paint, red paint,
Yeah.
like all over,
Eh,
whatever, like
yeah.
all over. And like, that's cool. Like, because there's two things, the emotional and the physical side of things are just very well connected. And like, hey, like it just feels good to let it out and to do it in a healthy way and a safe way is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. And I love that because anger is big and it
Yeah.
rages and it builds in there and there is pain underneath the anger. And so when we can clear the anger piece, then it loses its momentum, it loses its power over us, and we can move through those grief processing steps, right? And be like, okay, some of that anger is gone. Like now I can look at the fact that I'm angry because I'm really sad. I'm sad I have to start over. I'm sad that I didn't get the 50-year wedding anniversary. I'm sad that these future dreams aren't going to happen. And so
Mhm.
instead of staying stuck in the anger, you process out the emotions and then you smash the shit out of a bunch of stuff. The
Yep.
I was where was I? I think I was far past. I think we were already divorced was already final by the time the first smash room opened up over here. But you guys, there's some things working through my mind, and one of them is how like an event, an in-person event in 2026 is going to be mandatory, a retreat. And so we're going to build a Crazy Ex-Wives Club retreat, and it is going to include a smash room and it's going to include being able to move through this stuff. So I'm going to keep you posted, Erin, because I would love to have you
Yes.
come in and
Oh my
facilitate
gosh, that
that.
would be
But I
amazing.
think, yeah, because I am just getting so clear. Like, we don't need any more. I love them, but like, we don't need any more like kumbaya, la la la, like soothing retreats. We're going to kick
Yeah.
some ass, you guys. We're
Yeah.
going to hold space. We're going to see the places that broke. We're going to teach you how to pick them up. And then we're going to rise so that at the end of
Mhm.
this event, you leave so empowered and on the frequency of your new self. And then you
Mm.
have a whole group of women who saw you rise that help hold you accountable to living in that frequency. Like, we're not going back. So I'm so excited because from where this event idea started a few years ago to where it is like this week alone, like last night I was and then you brought up the smash room again. I was like, oh hell
Yeah.
yes, this
It's
is gonna
amazing.
be amazing. Yeah. So if you are interested in that, just make sure you get on the email list. You can sign up on the crazyexwivesclub.com because that's where most of the info will come out. Obviously, we'll be talking about it on the podcast when it gets closer. But actually, I'm going to tell you to go follow on social because I want to play a game and co-create with you. So I want you guys to start to pick, where do we want to go? Like, I'll give you some options. Are we going to the beach? Are we going to the mountains? Are we going to a city? Where are we going to go? And so we'll get to create this experience together, and I'll do it in stories over the next few months. But the good news is Erin also does virtual appointments. So until you're in the area to smash shit in person, you can always grab one of her buy one, get one spots or that free 10 minutes just to connect and see if it's the right fit. And you'll know it's the right fit because your body will say yes. When you get all jazzed up, like I currently am today, it is a hell yes, full body hell yes. Like, I can't stop. I'm like bouncing around. I'm like jumping up and down on my seat. I'm like, hell yes, fuck yes, let's go. Okay. That's my full body. But when it starts, when you're so exhausted and you're so uncertain and you're so tired from carrying the weight, what your first full body hell yes will feel like is that exhale when you finally feel like you can put down the weight. When you are just like, oh, there it is. So if you're feeling that in your body, then I want you to reach out. All of Erin's info, it's in the show notes for you to be able to connect with her. It is also online at thecrazyexwivesclub.com under episodes, where we have the links to be able to book with her and read more about her. But connect with Erin and the Seacoast Listening Lounge online, as well as hop it on that email list. I want to thank you, Erin, for sharing today. I love what you're doing, and I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to continue to celebrate you. And I cannot wait to find out where we're going for this smash room because this shit's going to be epic.
I can't wait.
Oh my God, I can't. Now I have to get it done sooner than later. So I might have to go post some ideas on social today. All right, you guys, until next week, give yourself some grace. Follow those little nods in your body when that curiosity peaks. You don't have to go all in, but just ask yourself, why are you curious? What do you want to learn more about? And then take action on it, one small step every single day to move closer to your full, beautiful, radiant self. We'll be back next week with another great episode. And that's it. Another great episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast for women learning how to heal from their divorce. Tune in next week for more advice and tips to help you figure out life after divorce. And until then, give yourself grace, do the best you can, and know that this is all part of the process.